On Mother's Day 2019, we were making our way from Moab, Utah to our new home base in Box Elder, South Dakota. We are on a straight section of rural two-lane highway in Colorado. All of a sudden, I heard clunk. I looked in the rearview camera and saw that the trailer with the Jeep on it had come disconnected from the back of the motorhome. I noticed in the driver's side mirror that the trailer was starting to drift into the opposing lane. I then looked forward and saw a small sedan coming in the opposite direction. All I could think was this was going to be really bad. With the trailer drifting left, I needed to get the oncoming car to move to the right, so I steered the motorhome slightly left into the lane. Fortunately, the driver of the oncoming car saw my move, or the trailer, and moved right. The car passed the trailer without incident. I sure wish that I could chat with those folks. With the car passed, the life threat of this extravaganza had diminished. I looked back briefly enough to see that the trailer was now completely left of the motorhome. I slowed the motorhome. There was no other traffic in sight. The trailer exited the roadway on the left side and came to a stop in the drainage ditch. I stopped the motorhome on the right side shoulder. With everything stopped, it was now time to survey the damage. Initially, I really didn't want to go look. To our amazement, the Jeep was still on the trailer. It was almost in the same position as we had loaded it. The Max brand tie-downs that we were using had held the Jeep almost in place. It turned out that the hitch on the motorhome broke. Because of where the hitch broke, the safety chains and trailer brake breakaway switch went with the trailer ball and receiver. Upon disconnect, the front of the trailer dropped down onto the jack base. The heat generated by the friction with the pavement burned off all the paint, and the force of the stop damaged the plate. A couple of the local property owners came out to investigate the happenings. They were kind enough to help with the unloading of the Jeep, moving and storing the trailer while we got things sorted out. A huge thank you to Travis and Dwayne. Other damage included the spring-loaded portions of the tow hooks, the connection wire for the trailer brakes breakaway system, and the 7-wire plug harness. With the trailer safely stored, we had originally thought that we would continue on to the Rapid City area of South Dakota where we would get everything fixed. So we continued on to Rawlins, Wyoming. In retrospect, we should have stayed in the local area in Colorado to sort things out. Since the trailer was still in Colorado, we decided to take the whole ensemble back to the St. George, Utah area where we know an excellent off-road fabricator. The plan was to inspect and to fix all findable issues on the Jeep, the trailer, and the motorhome. With that decision made, I drove about 2 times around a big circle shown on the map, or about 2,100 miles in 3 days to get all the parts and pieces to St. George. Once in St. George, Jeremy Thompson of Eminence Off-Road went over the Jeep and trailer with a fine-tooth comb. I repaired the breakaway switch and wiring. Jeremy straightened out the driver's side fender on the trailer and found and repaired a leaking wheel seal on the Jeep. We also closely inspected the tie-down attachment points, frame, jack, and coupler on the trailer. Jeremy expertly used his CNC plasma cutting machine to make a new foot for the jack. Then it was on to the job of fixing the motorhome hitch. Jeremy was able to reattach and significantly strengthen the original hitch, and all 3 vehicles drove away from what could have been a really, really bad situation with just a minimal amount of repairs. We did some analysis of the original hitch and why it broke. From the appearance of rust on the original welds on the side and bottom, it appears that the hitch broke from the bottom up. My hypothesis is that the welds cracked or broke not from pulling trailers or from hitch weight. Rather, it appears to have broken by dragging the trailer hitch or the front of the trailer on the ground when entering roads and driveways. It then finally broke on top when we went over a bump on the highway in Colorado. As I mentioned earlier, we use Max brand tie-downs to hold the Jeep on the trailer. In motorcycle riding, they say don't dress for the ride, dress for the crash. There's a parallel here. The tie-downs that I use are rated at 10,000 pounds each. One of the 2 that took the stopping load at the rear of the Jeep broke. I don't fault the tie-down. It broke in close proximity to an existing cut in the webbing. Even then, I believe it took quite a lot of the impact before snapping. The other rear tie down held firm, and it was so tight that we had to back the Jeep up so that we could loosen the ratchet. These two rear tie downs have done their jobs. You can see from the video that the webbing on both the tie downs is pretty severely heated and stretched. They have been replaced and will not be reused in a heavy application again. While I'm doing shout-outs, kudos to the folks at Fab Form Industries in Oregon. They are the makers of the Versatile Trailer brand. This trailer has suffered from broken spindle weld on one of the axles. Fab Form warranted and arranged for a replacement axle to be installed at no cost to us last year. Then this situation occurred. The robust way that this trailer was built directly contributed to its survival. To have survived a loaded ditch impact of at least 15, maybe 20 miles per hour without significant damage is truly remarkable. When it is all said and done, we have been extremely blessed through this whole week, and really since we left home in January. I think that we're going to name our Jeep Kitty. She seems to have 9 lives. Between our experience in Kingman in February and this one in Colorado in May, she has used up 2 of her 9 lives. Now I need to hang around to see about the other 7. Why did we come through this almost unscathed? Was this intended to be a wake-up call for something else? We don't know yet, but I can use a premise that I saw in a motivational piece put together by Steve Harvey. God woke us up today and guided us through because He isn't done with us yet. I'm taking that forward from here. Take care out there, everyone. Until next time, happy trails.